Welcome to Spiritual Happy Hour, where all the hours are happy.
Or something like that.
Something like that. This is Spiritual Happy Hour. And this hour, we're going to talk about all kinds of wonderful, wonderful things. First, we want to thank the master Randy Luna for his amazing music. You know, it's just phenomenal, isn't it?
We are so blessed to have that guy.
Oh, my goodness.
I think it's because we get his jokes.
We do get his jokes for sure. And Spiritual Happy Hour, we is, you know, maybe loosely based upon,
Looser and looser.
inspired by A Course in Miracles. We quote it once in a while, which sometimes we call it ACIM. And we'll also have a message from Adironda and the Council of Light. And if you don't know who Adironda and the Council of Light is, Google them. Can I say that?
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Google
absolutely.
loves when you say that.
I love Adironda and the Council of Light. Do you?
Of course I do.
What else do you love?
I love atoms. Don't you?
Yeah, I dated an atom once.
You're ruining my joke.
Oh, dear.
Atoms, like ATOMS, atoms. Because they make up everything. Wah, wah,
Wah, wah, wah.
Do you know who George Wald is?
No.
He's a Nobel Prize winning scientist who said a physicist is an atom's way of knowing about atoms.
Oh, that George Wald.
Now,
of course, I knew that.
there's something to ponder.
Yes.
Like, do you know what that means?
No.
Well, if you think about it, if there were no physicists, would an atom know it even exists?
I think it's in the woods. You know, like a bear in the woods. Never mind. We're getting off topic.
Okay, Marilyn. The point here is one of my favorite topics and one of your favorite topics. And the simplest way I know how to say it is consciousness, what you think, creates form, what you see.
I agree.
I am such a fan of this statement that I have it pretty big on my wall in my office.
She does.
And I look at it every day to remind myself that whatever story I'm telling myself, whatever belief I'm choosing to believe, and I do mean choosing, I'm actually creating in my world. So if there's something that you don't like about your world, change your thoughts. That's why Marilyn and I always have the bracelets on. Remind us to change our negative thinking. And if you don't know about that, please, somebody put it in the chat. We talk about it all the time. Mike Dooley says, thoughts are things. I like to say, everything is possible because it is. If you can think it, you've already created it. And Greg Kuhn tells a story about this in his book, Why Quantum Physicists Do Not Fail. But to understand the point of the story, we must first understand the meaning of paradigm. We hear this all the time. Oh, that's a paradigm shift. But do we really know what it means? Paradigms are like umbrellas under which everything that we do makes sense to us. They are, in fact, the reasons we do things the way we do them. Think of a paradigm as a fish tank, and you're the fish. The fish swims around and round and back and forth, exploring her fish tank every day. Her environment, the fishbowl, dictates what she can do, so she swims and she dreams and she waits to be fed. She watches everything happening outside of her fishbowl. By the way, Greg, the author, he names the fish Splash. Now, Splash has a dream of being a powerful deep ocean swimmer. Let's pretend Splash has access to the internet, and she researches and she finds a special program on how to transform into a deep ocean powerhouse. Splash is so excited. She reads through all of the material and she dreams all night about becoming a champion deep water swimmer. She has the willingness, she has the instruction, and she is ready. But after a month following the program of how to transform into an open ocean powerhouse perfectly, she doesn't see much transformation. In fact, she feels like after all that work, she's still only a little bit better of a swimmer, not much more than when she started. And she starts to lose faith. Have you ever felt like Splash? Splash gives up. She declares, well, I guess it's just not in the cards for me to be a deep ocean champion swimmer. She moves on with her life, but as with all dreams, she doesn't lose the desire to be that deep ocean swimmer. And a month or so later, she sees another book, a different approach to learning how to be a deep ocean champion swimmer. She thinks, this is it. I must have chosen the wrong program the first time. And once again, Splash is excited, and she dives in, quite literally, to the new program, following it to a T, working diligently every day, and passionately pursues her dream for about a month and a half. This time, she never once doubts that this program won't work. This time she'll have her dream, until, just like last time, Splash is forced to accept that she has failed again. And now she really feels like a failure. She's not just sad, she's blaming herself. And she doesn't just tear up. She sits back against the wall in her fish tank and soothes her emotional pain with some Ben & Jerry's ice cream. Half-baked, her now favorite. Because half-baked proves that if you can't decide between two of your favorite flavors, chocolate chip cookie dough and chocolate fudge brownie, you should have them both. And Splash feels like she should. Years pass by now, and lots of Ben & Jerry's half-baked ice cream. And once again, her dream hasn't really gone away, and she sees yet another program that she believes this time will help her become an open sea champion swimmer. She repeats this process another 8 times, each time completely following the instructions and each time failing. And more ice cream. She feels defeated, and now she's really got a negative self-talk going in her head. And once again, Splash resigns herself to what she believes is her fate. But because dreams just don't go away, her day-to-day life in the fish tank sucks. She lacks that same joy and fulfillment she had when she believed she could actually be an open sea champion. And now Splash, in order to not feel completely worthless, has adopted a few beliefs about herself. Number 1, although she'll never stop wanting to be a champion in the deep sea, she's just not worthy of being one. It's not in her genes. It's only for a lucky few. Anyone relating to this? Number 2, books and programs are just ripoffs, and people who create them take advantage of little fish like her to make money. Number 3, life's unfair. It gave her this tiny little fish tank. It's not even possible to swim in the deep sea ocean like other fish do, and now she's angry and bitter toward life. I'm sure none of you have ever felt like this, right? I know I have in the past, before my own paradigm shift. I had my own little fish tank, so to speak. The truth is, there wasn't really anything that Splash needed to do differently. She was actually doing all the right things. Her intentions, her desires, her efforts were more than enough for any fish to become a deep sea swimmer. She had it all. The one thing missing from this whole story was the size of Splash's fish tank. It was too small. One of those little ones that you buy at a pet store with blue rocks and maybe a single plastic plant. It didn't even have a pump or a filter. Sheesh! Or one of those fake treasure chests that open and close. You see, in this particular tank, no matter how hard Splash worked, how committed she was daily, how long she tried, she would never be able to achieve this dream. What Splash needed was a bigger fish tank to put her energy and intention into action, follow that instructional program, and take her place in the deep ocean. And even though poor Splash will never realize this, she is not a failure. Emphasis on the word she. Have you ever felt like Splash? You've got a dream, a goal. You tried to lose weight. You tried to make more money. You tried to improve your health. You believed there was a soulmate for you. You've tried and tried and tried to achieve something, but it just doesn't seem to happen. Well, I've got news for you. You are not a failure. It's not a problem with you. It's a fish tank problem. Just get a better fish tank. Fortunately for you, you're not actually a fish. You're a thinking, problem-solving human being. And you can actually examine the limitations and understand them and change your fish tank. You can watch your dreams manifest right before your eyes. Just substitute the word paradigm for fish tank. Rather than blaming yourself for the things that happened in the past, focus instead on making a positive difference in your life experiences. Start right now. Decide to begin in this moment. Put it in the chat. I'm beginning now. Take action. Make a commitment. Let us support you. I'm not going to go into what put you into that little fish tank. We cover that in other spiritual happy hours. That's all about your past programs and experiences. I want you to concentrate on how you get a new fish tank. And to do that, we need to think about the atoms that we talked about in the beginning, the ATOMs. Remember, they make up everything. What's interesting to me is that in school, we were taught classic science, the science of what we see with our naked eye. Yet nearly 150 years ago, two scientists, Albert Michelson and Edward Morley, discovered a new science called quantum physics, which basically says our world is made up of subatomic particles, things you can't see, that create macroscopic, huge things in the universe. Classic science is still useful. It's what helps us get machines like airplanes in the sky. It's the science of Sir Isaac Newton that most of us learned in high school. Basically, it says everything is made up of smaller parts, and for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, and that the observer and the observed are two separate things, and that things happen in a logical and linear way. But in Michelson and Morley's research, using classic science, they were simply trying to calculate the speed at which the Earth travels around the sun. And guess what? They got 0 miles per hour. 0 miles per hour. Well, Michelson and Morley, they knew this couldn't be true. In fact, you and I, who probably aren't even scientists, also know that's impossible. We experience night and day, which is the Earth rotating around the sun. It has to be moving. It can't be zero. This basically says that classical physics is wrong. We knew it 150 years ago, yet we still live in our world acting like classic physics is correct, and we only believe what we already see. We're living in that small fish tank. The truth is, quantum physics does explain our world. Take, for example, planet Earth. If you step outside of your house and you look around you, Earth appears to be pretty flat. But you know it's round because you've seen photographs of it from outer space looking down on Earth. You know it's a globe. You can't see the roundedness from where you stand using your naked eye. This is because of your relative perspective to it. You're too small to have the same perspective from where you stand as outer space has looking down upon it. So why is that? Why do we believe classic science that says we should only believe what we see? Remember, classic science says that you and what you're looking at are two separate things. It's pretty easy to believe that when you look around your world. Yet why does the Earth appear flat when you're standing on it, and photographs show a different perspective, that if you get far away enough from it, it's a globe, it's round. It's the same Earth, whether we're standing on it or looking at it from afar. The answer is so simple, It's perspective. Those atoms that make up everything, they aren't actually tangible physical objects that we can see as believed in classic science. In fact, the new science, quantum physics, says those atoms don't even happen until they're observed. Now, this is an oversimplification, and I'm sure I have a few quantum physicists chuckling, thank you very much, but I like to oversimplify things so that I can understand them. Hopefully this is helpful to you too. Because the point is, we want out of that tiny fishbowl that we believe because of what we were taught about classic science. Take a look at the universe that is you. You are an actual universe. Classic science says that you are made up of smaller parts with predictable things working in a logical and linear way. Tell that to someone who has a mystery disease where the doctors can't figure out what's going on. Symptoms appear, but the tests show there's nothing wrong. This is also the paradigm of the small fish tank. To Splash, the fish tank appears small, limited. She can't even swim in the deep ocean, let alone be a champion in it. So let me ask you this. When was the last time that you asked your heart to beat, or your lungs to breathe, or your eyelids to blink? They don't function in a logical and linear way. Think about the person with a mystery disease. If it was logical and linear, it wouldn't be a mystery. Your body or your universe operates on its own, and sometimes, as in a mystery disease, it actually overrides your body. You feel like you have no control. In 1990, Dr. Candace Pert, the chief molecular biologist for the National Institute of Health at the time, discovered your thoughts are things. They are tangible objects. But can you see your thoughts? Great question, right? Every thought you think has a unique neuropeptide, and your body produces that neuropeptide every time you experience that same thought and the emotion around it. Only it happens instantly and continuously, and with each emotion, your bloodstream gets flooded with those neuropeptides. Think of it this way. Your thought is a messenger of emotion to your body. Over time, your body actually begins to crave these neuropeptides, especially the ones that they've experienced the most. So you produce more and more, and you become addicted to these neuropeptides. And that addiction has you actually looking for experiences to create that emotion so you can create more neuropeptides. If you believe you live in a small fish tank or paradigm, if you've spent years telling yourself, I can't afford that, or I'm so fat, or I picked the wrong lovers, or I don't know my purpose, guess what? You're right. Your body actually experiences the emotions that cause you to continually think that, and voila, your thoughts become things. They appear in your world. You're in the small fish tank with Splash. You believe your thoughts. No matter how many diets you do, no matter how many books you read about abundance, no matter how many classes you take on relationships and life purpose, you're still in the small fish tank. Until you can change the neuropeptides in your brain. And how do you do that? Again, oversimplification so that I can understand it. If you're interested in the details, read Greg Kuhn's book, Why Quantum Physicists Do Not Fail. So back to Splash. How does Splash get out of the small fish tank so that she can live her dream of being a deep ocean champion swimmer? Easy. Splash must work on her feelings and emotions to depersonalize her belief. So she'll stop thinking the same thing over and over that keeps her in that small fish tank. Number 1. She must tell herself a different story with better, positive, uplifting words that she can actually believe. The key is a story she believes, which means she has to start where she is. Say something positive that she can actually believe. According to quantum physics, she, or we, must look for ways to feel as good as possible about everything. People, places, things, life in all ways. You create more good by telling yourself the best possible story always. This is the fundamental truth of how the universe works. It delivers what you expect, what you're actually thinking and addicted to, rather than what you hope to see. As Groucho Marx said, very interesting theory. It makes no sense at all. It doesn't have to make sense. It's science and someone proved it. Number 2, because her body, our body, is like a tuning fork, subatomic particles of vibration, she must focus on how it will feel to be a deep sea ocean swimmer, and not actually on the deep ocean swimming itself. She must do this as often as possible, write down her goal, say it, but the most important is to take the time to actually feel it. Become that deep sea swimmer before it ever happens. Of course, this is why meditation helps, because it helps you still your mind and have control over your thoughts. Number 3, continual gratitude is important. It helps you feel good about life in general. I have a plaque in my home and my home away from home in San Diego that says, "Gratitude is the abracadabra of the universe." I say it so much that people have actually credited me with first saying it, but I heard it from someone else and it truly resonated. And finally, number 4, create and celebrate success. Admittedly, this is one of the things I often forget to do. While I'm pretty good at being grateful, I don't always take the time to celebrate and really savor all of the successes, big and small. I'm still a work in progress too. In fact, Adironda gave us a way to do this years ago. They said, failure is just another F word for feedback. And Marilyn and I, we got in the habit of whenever something didn't work out the way we had expected it to, we'd quickly celebrate it by saying, "That's great feedback." Do you see how simple it is to tell a different story? Now, if Splash could do this, she'd see her small fish tank, her paradigm, from outer space, and she'd quickly be able to locate the ocean. She'd have a better chance of achieving her dreams. What's so interesting to me is how the story is yet another crossroad of spirituality and science. You see, this entire story is also directly relatable to the messages of A Course in Miracles, lessons 31 through 35. Lesson 31 says, "I am not the victim of the world I see." And 32 says, "I have invented the world I see." And 33 says, "There's another way of looking at the world." In my oversimplification of ACIM, I would say that poor little Splash chose to be the victim in her world, and because of what she believed, she had invented that small fish tank and just needed a paradigm shift to be willing to see it differently. And I love ACIM lessons 34 and 35. They apply to Splash and quantum physics too. 34 is, "I could see peace instead of this." And 35 is, "My mind is part of God's. I am very holy." For Splash, this translates to, she just has to be willing to see things differently and realize it's true. She's the one setting it all in motion. Then she'll experience peace and realize just how amazing she truly is. And for quantum physics, knowing that you can control your thoughts and doing so, anybody would choose peaceful thoughts and exactly what they want. And because my thoughts are things and my thoughts create consciousness, I'm actually part of all that is creating everything in the universe. I know Splash can be a deep sea open water champion swimmer, and I know you can too. This is why I believe everything is possible when you're in the right fish tank. Let's take a quick, beautiful musical interlude with the master Randy Luna, and then let's hear what Adironnda has to say about fish tanks, paradigms.
Ah, so it is good day to you, huh? Ho, ho, ho. So good to see your light, your brightness, your divine presence, dearest beings of light that you are. And it is good to see you, and good to see you, and good to see you, and good to see each of you out there in the virtual reality world of spiritual happy hour. As the vessel Marilyn said earlier, every hour can be happy hour, huh? Depends on what you think of your fish tank, huh? So as you understand, a paradigm schmaradigm, they don't exist any longer except in your own brain. Science has proven that your brain connects to every story that you're telling. So stop telling the stories. Stop telling yourself that you can't do this, you can't do that, you don't have this, you don't have that. Now it is possible. Take a deep breath. If Little Splash said, I am a big fish swimmer, I am a big ocean swimmer, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it, and started feeling it and swimming around in her tank, that the person who actually purchased the tank may think, I'm just tired of this little fish, and toss it out into the water of the ocean. Everything is possible. And then Little Splash would discover that it is possible to be a big swimmer in the ocean because she's learned everything. See, so many times people think they have to take a new course to learn something. And that is fine. You can take a new course. But the part that you really get to learn is between here and here. You see, that is the most important decision making. This, what is it? 6 inches, 8 inches of space between each ear. Understand and know that you are the one that is in control. So if your paradigm is that you can't have a new kitchen because it costs too much money, you're correct. If your belief is that you can't have a new boyfriend or girlfriend because who would be attracted to you, then you are correct. If your thought is, even though you say one thing, but your thought is, I really can't do that. Surprisingly enough, that thought manifests more rapidly in the world than does your speech. So it is a matter of getting your thoughts and your feelings and your speech all into the alignment so the universe and quantum physics can take control. You know, in that old movie or one of the movies or something where, what is it? We don't know what it is called. It is one of the first, Through the Rabbit Hole, or we don't know what it is called. But they proved that the atoms, identified by George Wald, now you know that, the atoms, as they were moving towards something, when they showed a picture of a loving family having fun, the atoms went right through it. When they showed a picture of a scary energy or a horrible, frightening thing, the atoms stopped and actually moved and went around it. So the atoms, as has been proven, are thinking, responding, affecting, effecting molecules. So since they are, and that you know that, then why do you hear yourself demean yourself? This is why, as the joy and the vessel say, change your bracelet. You see, when you put something in, that is going to be what you get out. Plant a radish, get a radish. Plant the enormous ocean, and you can get the enormous ocean in one way, shape, or form. Now, there are things that you may not be able to control, because Little Splash could not control the owner of the fish tank, theoretically. However, if everything is possible, and Splash does change her little perspective, and realize that she can feel like she's in the ocean, whether she is or not, and starts feeling it in the ocean, then that goes out into her little field, which may be 26 inches across or maybe 26 feet as well. And then that field, or the atoms or molecules or people in that field, start adapting themselves to her state of consciousness. Now that does give you something to ponder. Huh? And that is the key. And in that energy, in that frequency of pondering, understand that you are everything you are feeling about yourself. You are everything that you are thinking about yourself. Someone years ago used to write the Joeaux and Marilyn and go rant and rant and rant about why he was not winning the big lottery, why he was not winning the big lottery. Well, everything before the big lottery statement was a complaint, and everything after the big lottery statement was also a complaint. So that was actually what he was asking for. So his world, as a result, was falling apart. Instead, what does it feel like? Can you actually feel inside and out and bring that? If that is so important to you, why would you want to win the lottery in the first place? You don't want the money. What you want is to be comfortable and to be happy and to love your environment. Focus on that. And then it matters not what your fish tank is, because there are no limits to what you can create, because there are no more paradigms. You are living in this moment, right here, right now, which is very important to you. You understand what we say, huh? We love you deeply. We see you. We know you. We see your doubts. Let them go. We feel you. And we bid you namaste. Namaste.